So as Canada gears up for the arrival of generic Ozempic and Wegovy, new research is showing how the drugs are changing what users spend their money on. This is interesting. PwC research in Harvard Business Review shows that GLP-1 users are cutting back on things like fast food and groceries and spending more on clothes and wellness products. The shift has some experts predicting Ozempic could reshape society, like social media or rideshare apps. I mean, it's touching everything. So for more on what the data is showing, we're joined this morning by Ali Furman, consumer markets industry leader at PwC. And right now, Ali is researching how GLP-1s are affecting the consumer economy. Ali, good morning. You looked at consumer data from Numerator for more than 11,000 U.S. households, and you found that in the first year of GLP-1 use, grocery spending decreased by 6 to 8%. We know that is in part because there is an appetite suppressant to this drug. So how significant of a shift is that?
Well, good morning, Anne-Marie. Thank you so much for having me. I'm behind me at the lovely sunrise in New York. We were just speaking about. So, listen, we've been studying this phenomena for 2.5 years, and the data is really stark as far as, this being a true physiological disruption that is having a material impact on consumer preferences and consumer behaviors. So in our recent data that we concluded just this past October, we saw household penetration in the US of at least one person in every household going from 9% to 14% in a just 6-month period. And that's before all these barriers to entries have fallen, things like the drug becoming less expensive, insurance covering it more often, the format changing from an injectable to a pill. So that penetration increased that much in a 6-month period without all of those barriers falling, which they're going to in the not too distant future. So it's really interesting to see this adoption curve. Grocery spend decreases 6 to 8%. Customers kind of shift what they're buying in their baskets. They go from indulgent, salty, sugary snacks, carbonated beverages, alcohol, to nutrient-dense, protein-based foods. They make less trips to the grocery store because they're simply eating less.
That is fascinating. Another ripple effect is grocery spending, as you mentioned, is decreasing. But you saw the opposite in clothing and wellness sectors. So what did you find there?
Absolutely. So this is interesting that there are other implications beyond just food and beverage when people go on this drug. They report generally feeling more self-confident and happier, particularly those that have had some success on a weight loss journey. So they're buying different things. They perhaps, if they felt they were overweight, they previously bought more accessories, jewelry, belts, things of that nature, shoes. And now they're shifting categories from accessory purchases to form-fitting apparel. They're also going on a weight loss journey, so of course they're looking at different sizes of clothing. They're shifting into more fitted silhouettes, active wear, more expressive, fashion-forward styles because they're feeling better about their identities and overall self-confidence. So that's been an interesting shift as well, beyond just the food that they're consuming.
Yeah, I find the ripple effect fascinating. One other thing that you looked at, experts are predicting that Ozempic and Wegovy use is going to drive down the business in the fast food sector. You already mentioned people are going for high fat, high salt a whole lot less often if they're on this drug. So Redburn Atlantic is projecting GLP-1 use could lead to 28 million fewer visits to places like McDonald's in the US per year. That would mean a $480 million loss in annual revenue. So what are industries like the fast food industry going to need to do to mitigate those losses?
Well, it's true. When people feel less hungry, they are naturally going out to eat less often. Even before GLP-1s were applied to weight loss, the quick service restaurant industry was under some pressure related to this K-curve economy that we're seeing in the US. So these drugs are speeding things up. People are going out less often, but they're not abandoning restaurants altogether. They're shifting their spend from kind of quick service to more casual dining restaurants to get higher quality food. They're focused more on an experience because they are eating less. So just enjoying with friends and family, it becomes more important when you're doing it less often. So, they'll continue to go to restaurants, but we will continue to see a shift in where they go and how frequently they go.
Ali Furman, consumer markets industry leader at PwC. Thanks so much for joining us with your research this morning. Fascinating.
You're very welcome. Thanks for having me.
If you like that video, make sure to subscribe to the Your Morning YouTube feed, where you can find all kinds of new content posted every weekday morning.